President Donald Trump says the U.S. is taking the next step on Iran. He is reimposing tough sanction on the country's regime, 3 months after pulling out of the Iran nuclear deal. Correspondent Wyatt Goolsby reports from the State Department. Good evening, Wyatt.
Good evening, Lauren. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo says the U.S. sanctions on Iran will be rigorously enforced and will remain in place until the Iranian government radically changes course. Pompeo says this is not a move against the Iranian people. The U.S. supports Iranians who are demanding change. Rallies in cities across Iran continue. Protesters chanting, "Death to the dictator," a reference to Supreme Leader Ayatollah Khamenei. Sohrab Ahmari, an American journalist who was born in Iran, says it's been decades since the country has seen such widespread protests.
It definitely entails a lot of working class people who are supposed to be the Iranian regime's base. They're the ones who are now coming out, and their anger is directed in a very clear way at the regime's policies.
Ahmari notes a lack of religious liberty as one of many problems that are coming to the surface. Secretary Pompeo says the crackdown on protests is worrying. "We are deeply concerned about reports of Iranian regime's violence against unarmed citizens. U.S. supports Iranians' people's right to protest against the regime's corruption and oppression without fear of reprisal. We call on the regime in Iran to respect its people's human rights." The Trump administration says Iran's already declining economy is about to get hit hard again from U.S. sanctions. Starting at 12:01 a.m. Tuesday, financial penalties removed under President Obama as part of the 2015 nuclear agreement snap back into place. Those sanctions will limit their ability to buy or acquire U.S. dollars, stop trade of aluminum and steel, and impose tariffs on their automotive industry. Ahmari hopes the sanctions will pressure the regime to change its behavior.
Whether that's its regional aggression, meaning its terrorist activities, its support for every terrorist group from Lebanon down to the Arabian Peninsula, or whether that's its human rights record at home. So on all these things, we have problems with the Iranian regime, and it's clear that the path of negotiations didn't yield better Iranian behavior, it worsened their behavior.
Not everyone agrees with the Trump administration's decision. The foreign ministers of France, Germany, the UK, and the European Union all say the Iran nuclear deal is working to limit and monitor Iran's nuclear program. Iranian President Hassan Rouhani is striking a hard line, demanding America compensate Iran for decades of intervening in their affairs. Lauren?
Wyatt, these sanctions that are happening now, is that it? Will there be more?
Well, Lauren, come November 4th, the administration plans to reimpose more sanctions that were actually lifted under the Obama administration. Those hit Iran's oil and energy sectors, as well as companies that work with or work through the central bank of Iran, as well as other financial institutions in the country. Lauren?
Correspondent Wyatt Goolsby reporting from the State Department. Thank you, Wyatt.